Why is Zhanle so fast? I don't know. Hi everyone, Andrew here, helping you help your swimmers get faster. With every major championship and every record-breaking swim, the inevitable question is, what are these athletes doing differently? What makes them so fast? At the recent Olympics, Pan burst onto the scene with spectacular fashion. While he was already the world record holder, he took it to another level with a completely dominating swim in the 100 freestyle. And as a result, I got a lot of questions about how and why he was swimming so fast. The reality is that I don't know, and anyone that claims they do probably doesn't know either. The bottom line is that if he's swimming faster, he's creating more propulsion, less resistance, or some combination of the two. And he's using a high stroke rate in combination with a great stroke length. Anything beyond that is pretty much speculation unless someone has actual data in terms of how much propulsion he's creating and how little resistance he's creating. Now, when you watch the swim, to me, it looks like his body line's pretty good. His breathing also looks really good. It's low, it's fast, and it looks like he's got a pretty strong kick behind him. At the same time, when I watch him swim, there are some things that tend to stand out to me. However, it's hard to know if they're actually creating more speed for him. It also looks like he gets into really effective propulsive positions with his arms. But more than anything else, his swimming is very clean in that there's very little extra wasted motion and there's very little extra wasted effort. His body doesn't move very much and his arms or legs are pretty much only moving in order to create propulsion. In other words, it's not so much that he does anything special or that there's some trick. He just does the basics really, really, really well. And more importantly, he does them at really high stroke rates. And doing anything well at a really high stroke rate takes a whole lot more skill, and it takes a whole lot of fitness to sustain those skills over the course of a race. And because he's efficient and because he can hold those skills, he's going to have a really great back half, and that's what we saw in that race. And just as importantly, while I certainly don't know the specifics, I'm sure he has structural advantages that allow him to go fast as well. He wouldn't be elite if he didn't. The shape of his body probably creates less resistance than certainly most swimmers and perhaps even most elite swimmers. If you're not convinced that those type of advantages exist, I've seen international medalists push off the wall intentionally trying to use a poor streamline and go further than athletes that are trying really hard to use an effective streamline. And many of these elite athletes can position their arms and legs more effectively in order to create more propulsion, and they have bigger surface areas like their hands and their feet to move water with. The same level of skill simply takes them further because of these advantages. And so when they do the basics really, really, really well, it has a really, really, really big impact on speed. The big picture point here is that the best don't always do anything different. They simply do the same things at a much higher level. And they usually have less going on in the stroke, and that there's less extra motion, less unnecessary motion happening. The body doesn't move unnecessarily, and the arms and the legs are just used for creating propulsion. And while that creates more propulsion and less resistance, it also allows for more endurance because there's no extra wasted motion, so the energy cost is going to be lower as well. So the fundamentals matter, and they will always matter. And the better that they're performed, the faster swimmers are going to go. And just as importantly, it's not about executing these critical skills at slow speeds. They have to be executed at really high stroke rates, and this is something Pan does really well. He holds those skills, he holds those stroke rates throughout the entire race. Of course, it's not just about skills. Fitness certainly matters because fitness allows swimmers to execute and sustain those skills and sustain those stroke rates throughout the entire race distance. And sometimes swimmers are faster, not because they're doing anything better, but because they can hold the same level of performance for longer. So if swimmers practice their skills at high speeds and practice their skills as part of a comprehensive training program, they're going to develop the ability to execute those skills fast and sustain those skills under pressure. So to summarize, why does he swim so fast? He executes the basics incredibly well, and he has the fitness to execute those skills at a high level and sustain that throughout the race. And he has structural advantages so that when he performs those skills, he gets more out of them. So what should we learn from great swims like his and others? Focus on the key skills. Help swimmers learn them to the extent that which their structure allows. Then they have to learn how to execute those skills fast and do it under pressure so that they can sustain those skills throughout an entire race. Well, everyone can't break world records. Anyone can accomplish that. If you want to learn more about how elite swimmers are executing their skills to create speed, check out the video here.